Nancy, Smokehouse, it's the urban heat. Shout out to Coach Live.
Coach LA's time to listen to conversations that's gonna keep you winning. Sunday nights at 10 p.m. on the urban heat, just calling. Conversations with Coach La 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 La. Conversations with Coach La 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 La. If you got something on your mind, you can call in, you can hit a line. She the realest, ooh, she the realest. You can tap in, loud, oh, get a business to empower you so that you can do every and anything that you want to. Kicking in with Coach LA's time to listen to conversations that's gonna keep you winning. Sunday nights at 10 p.m. on the urban heat, just calling. Conversations with Coach La 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 La. Coach La 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 La.
Yeah.
Let me see you work, 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 yeah. Work, 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 yeah.
The whole club's on free, spotlights on your body. Girl, I decided you can have my undivided. Baby, come closer. Let me get up all on this. We keep drinking and thinking, girl, we should be leaving here. I love to the beat. Got your hands all over me. See, I forgot we were still in the club. Cause you dance like we're making love. I want you, and that body. Look at the curves. Yeah, girl. Why you going like that? Girl, you're working that body. Girl, you're working that body. Work that body. You know that I work that body. You see the heart when you walk by, thicker than a sticker. Caught my eye, baby got body. I just want a little, rock your boat, then work the middle. I wanna know so I can show you, girl. You sexy, you so sexy, girl. You should let me. I love it when you move, yeah. Hands on the over, here in the club, yeah. Girl, I want you, yeah. And that body, why you doing like that? Oh, baby, girl, you working that body, work that body, baby. Girl, you working that body, work that body, work that body, work that body, body, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let me see you work, yeah. Work, 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 work. Yeah. Let me see you work, 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 yeah. Work, 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 work. Yeah. Let me see you work.
Yeah.
Baby, I know we just met, but I want you. I want you. I want you. I want you. Baby. I want you. Here with me, girl. I want you. I want you. It's 2 a.m. and I'm wide awake. Scrolling through my text messages. Girl, I see your face. Everything about you on replay. Girl, I'm so caught up. I want your loving. Girl, you know you're trouble. But I like that. Girl, you know you're trouble. But I like that. Body like a throwback. But I like that. Baby, you're the reason I'm all into you. I want you.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Coach La La La. How y'all doing this evening? It's a beautiful, it's actually a snowy day in the neighborhood here at the Urban Heat Studios. Good, I'm about to say stadium. Shout out to the New England Patriots, baby. I heard we won tonight's game. That's a big deal. So we're moving on. So y'all hear the 2 songs I was playing earlier today. Shout out to Franchise Entertainment and shout out to Ray Royale. That's the song you guys hearing in the background. But you have tuned into another episode of Conversations with Coach La La La. And I am your favorite around the way therapist. And guys, I'm excited to be back. You know, it's been a rough last 2 weeks, as you guys saw on the screen. Our beloved Talise Rivers passed away, so we are doing a benefit concert for her this Thursday at the City Winery in Boston. We want to make sure you guys come out, and then on Friday we will be having her memorial services at Greater Love Tabernacle. So please support, donate, and just send my sister off with much love and much respect. And she was such a beacon of positivity. She always reminded everybody to make sure that they stood out and they were not part of the crowd. And that's something I'm going to hold dear to my heart. Shout out to everybody that's on Instagram. Shout out to everybody on Facebook, on iHeartRadio. Thank you for rocking out with Conversations with Coach La and sitting on a virtual couch. We've been doing this thing for 3 years. This is episode 147, I believe. I still can't believe it's been 3 years and that many episodes. It's great. I'm excited and I'm very thankful. So tonight, oh my goodness, tonight's episode is going to be emotional. It's going to be therapeutic. It's going to be informative. You guys may have seen a couple of the posts that I posted for Club Shay. And he's a comedian. Ryan, the comedian, was talking about his relationship with his mother. And so, as you guys know, this is season 9. And in season 9, we're actually celebrating healing, elevating, and evolving. And this is my chapter 50. So when you get up into your 50s, you start to reflect on your life, your relationships, your upbringing. And you guys know I'm always preaching bet on yourself, which is something my father told me to do, but I would be remiss not to talk about some of the impact that my mother had on my life as well. So tonight, I have a special guest that's going to help me talk about we get it from my mama. All my hood, oh my mama. Yes. So we get it from my mama. So you know that this show is all about debunking myths and stigma about mental health, one conversation at a time. And we often, well, let me rephrase that. I often have my clients not want to talk about their childhood, primarily their relationship with their parents, primarily their mother, because they feel like they don't want to be disrespectful. So tonight, we're going to talk about how you can both talk about the harm that was caused and also understand it wasn't intentional, but it doesn't mean that it does not shape you both directly and indirectly. So our guest tonight is Miss Shamina Austin. Right, that's right. I know y'all probably already peeped. She got the same last name as mine. But Miss Shamina Austin is really special to me in so many different ways because she happens to also be my sister. And one of my top episodes was both of my sisters came on the show. But I decided, I kind of strong-armed her to come back because this is actually her birthday month. And I think she could really help me talk about milestones and talk about the impact that our mother had on both of us. And although it's a little bit different, we have some similarities. Now, Shamina's a stylist. Some of y'all may know she's my stylist. Often some of my freshest looks were looks she put together. She's an entrepreneur, and she founded, which started off like a blog, Mina'Shay Style Journey. And it's a platform that's rooted in transformation, confidence, and visibility. Her journey began not in fashion, but in survival. And I think that's really important to sort of name because after experiencing postpartum depression, which I know a lot of people can relate to going through postpartum depression, she had significant weight gain, which I also can relate to. And she had a deep disconnection from herself. Shamina found herself navigating identity loss. And for all the moms out there, we often will go through this period of really trying to identify who we are, both as a woman and as a mother. And if you're a wife and you have any other roles, often that can be a tough place to navigate. So I'm excited to have her really help me with this because this Mina'Shay Style Journey actually was manifested after the pandemic, especially when they started to halt in-person events. She pivoted. Remember, I talked about last season, season 8, about pivoting and building a thriving digital presence through fashion by reselling and storytelling. So she has a whole Poshmark closet, which is pretty dope. She has, I don't know, she got to remind me, but I think she has over 30,000 followers. She has 5 stars for all of the things that she sells because she is a true fashionista and a shopaholic. I know firsthand because a lot of her packages come to my house. But anyway, I'll talk about that in another day. So today, Mina'Shay Style Journey is a space where fashion meets healing, motherhood meets meets self-reclamation, and also women are reminded they are allowed to evolve. So I am super, super excited to have Shamina join me on the virtual couch. So let me bring her on camera. There she is. How you doing? How you doing?
Hello. Happy
Welcome
Sunday.
back.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here again, sis.
I know, right? And it's snowing right now in Massachusetts, y'all. So she had the troop. There's a lot going on out here in the city, but she made it. So welcome. We got a lot of people that's clocked in on Facebook and Instagram. So say hi to the people.
Hello, Instagram. Hello, Facebook. How y'all doing?
Yes. So Shamina, tell me, outside of your bio, being a fashionista, being a mom, being a sister, an employee, an auntie, who is Shamina Austin? What's something that you want the people to know about you that they would be surprised to know?
Something that they would be... I'm actually a really shy person, and I'm not a social butterfly. I'm actually a homebody, and I like to stay home. I've been coming out of my comfort zone, gallivanting around Boston for my birthday month, and I'm just trying to be more active, more seen, and more involved with things that are going on, just to be out and change up the vibe a little bit for myself.
Yeah, we're night and day.
Night and day.
Night and day. But
Mhm.
you know what's so interesting about that is that we grew up in a 2-parent household.
Yes,
We have the same mother and the same father.
absolutely.
And although we have a lot of similarities, we're very, very, very different.
Yeah,
I think our mother has always called me the social butterfly.
absolutely.
And although I'm the oldest, Shamina has been more the protector than me, I would say, in a lot of ways. I don't know how that happened, but she's always been a firecracker. I think it's because Grandpa told you, or no, Dad told you
Daddy.
to use your little apples, and made you the little boxer, the little fighter of the two of us. I think I've always been more girly.
You have, but I also think the dynamics of our family structure with, how things all played out when you were a teenager and just leaving home, it automatically just pushed me into the older sibling. And then I had 3 little brothers that were right under me. So there wasn't really a place or position to be, this soft girly girl, because I had to protect my brothers. So if something happened with them, they came to me. So it was just the dynamics were different. I think if you probably would have been around more often then, or if there was someone older than me, then I probably would have been able to just, be my age and be within that family structure in the order in which I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I got pushed up a lot faster because you weren't there. So
Yeah.
there was no buffer. I didn't
Yeah.
have anyone to go talk to about things. It was like I had my older cousins, but that was still outside of our household. So I
Yeah.
they had no choice.
Yeah. Well, I think even when we were younger, though, you were the fighter out of the two of us. So before you kind of jumped ahead to my teenage years, but when we were at Quincy Dickerman, you was fighting then too, and we was together.
I wasn't really a fighter. It was just like,
Uh-huh.
no, I don't want it to be perceived like I was a bully, because
No,
I wasn't
that's
a
not what I
bully.
mean. No, that's
But
not what I mean.
I feel like if something was brought to me or if something happened where I had to react, then I was going to react.
Yeah.
But I wasn't just walking around throwing my weight on people or, taking people's lunch monies and snacks. It was just
She
like,
wasn't Deboing people.
no, it
That's
wasn't
what she's saying.
Deboing. It was like, hey, if it came my way and I had to deal with it, I dealt with it.
Right.
That's a little different.
Which I think, me being the oldest and not having someone above me, I often was avoiding conflict. And you would be, if it was brought, you would be like, let's go. I'd be like, nope, let's not do that. Let's just try to avoid this. And that was not what you was trying to do. But I appreciate that about you. I appreciate our differences. I think as we've gotten older, we appreciate them more than when I was younger. Which brings us to what we're talking about tonight, right? Like, we're going to be kind of jumping into how that all shapes us, right? Growing up in a 2-parent household in the inner city, and a lot of people don't probably know this, but you were a little younger, but we were right in the middle of the crack epidemic, right? Like everything
smack dead in
like
it.
Everything sort of was different in terms of our upbringing. So I watch a lot of these shows that 50 Cent does or Snowfall. It's like, wow, I can really relate to my community changing and everything changing. I often think that shaped a lot of my ambition and a lot of my drive as well. But tonight we're talking about mother wounds, right? When you hear that, what do you think about when I talk about that?
Whenever I hear anything about mother wounds, I'm automatically it's like a parallel or a connection between, I don't want to necessarily say negative things, but the things that happen with your mother that, cause you to have a wound.
Yeah.
Literally a wound.
Right.
And just certain things that your parent or your mother did that just really trying to scarred you.
Yep.
That you had to learn how to heal from yourself. You had to pray on it, talk to your friends, maybe other family members to try to figure out why. And then you had to heal on your own, but it carries on with you into your adulthood.
Right.
There's certain things that our mother said to me personally that really shaped how I had relationships with friends and with men. She was always very focused in on education. She always let me know very early on that a man was insignificant. It wasn't about building a relationship or trying to build a life with a man. It was you going out here getting your education, you get your money, you have your stuff set up for you. And if that happens to happen, okay. But we don't run the show over here that I'm trying to build you up or give you life skills to go and be some man's, wife or anything to that nature. And I think that was really based off of her own past and then her relationship with our father.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well said. A mother womb is an emotional imprint, right? And
yep.
Our mothers are our first mirrors. And, I'm going to expand that to even say our caregivers, because sometimes it's not your biological mother. It could be an auntie, it could be a grandmother, but whoever was taking care of you in that motherly role, right, is the person that will either help you see who you are in a positive way, or they can actually have unmet needs, misattunement, and unresolved trauma in that relationship. So often we don't think about that. A lot of focus often on men, right? Daddy issues, absentee dads.
Right.
A lot of times people don't talk about how much damage and trauma moms can do.
Yeah.
And it's always, and I'm speaking as a mother, mothers sort of get a lot of passes, right? We sort of can take the baby home and people just assume we know what we're doing and that we're going to do the right thing. But often men are challenged, criticized. Do you know what you're doing?
Right.
And I think that's unfair because they don't do the same thing to mothers. You get pregnant, you have a baby, they send you home with it. Father wants to do the same thing. They will give him the hardest time.
It's a lot of scrutiny. It's a lot of scrutiny
to step in as a dad. So we wonder why there's all these, gaps between moms and dads. And I think a lot of it is how we treat fathers.
Yeah.
And mothers have such an impact, a major impact. And I think that's not just on women, but on men too. So
absolutely.
I have a clip that I want to play, but I have to do a little bit of switching the rules because I think to play this the way I want, I need to do a couple of things.
Blame your mom for staying.
He did that to her. Now, how you respond to how you treat it is yours.
Right.
Like, she treated us the way she treat us because of what she went through with him. I have to understand, because I had my first child at 27. I was her third at 17. I wasn't ready at 27. I can only imagine.
3 at 17?
At 17. That's what I'm saying.
She'd have been a senior in high school. You say she dropped out.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, I get my intelligence from my mother. My mother is very smart. My mother could have accomplished everything that y'all think. Like, when people who appreciate my mental capacity, double that. That's my mama. She was a child. Her life got derailed. And sometimes I wonder if she looks at me and she see the derailment and not the thing she created that she can be proud of. I talk about the bad because I want people who are going through it to understand how this affects children. I want my mom, I want my mother. Even if she watches this and she gets upset and she's like, see, he talking about it again. Come get me.
Wow. That clip hit me really hard when he said he wonders if his mother sees him for the derailment versus the success in something that she created. And that hit me pretty hard because I often wondered, as we seen some of the things that our mother went through, having 6 kids, what things she sacrificed and what things that she might have went through as a mom, and how some of the choices that she made, why she showed up the way that she did. Right. So that hit me. And I was like, the empathy behind it, but it doesn't change the fact that there was still harm done. And there's more clips to that. You can see that interview. That's comedian Ryan on Club Shay Shay. But he just opened up so much about still wanting a relationship with his mother, but knowing that every time she sees him, she sees his father.
You know what? I can totally agree with what he just said, because our mother was also a teen mom, and so was our father. They were both teen parents when they met each other. The reason why I can agree with that, because every single child that our mother had, she was a different version of herself, which gave us a different mom, a different set, and a different father as well. But I do think that there was some resentment there because our mother went and got her college degree when we were adults. And I know that there was things that she probably wanted to do over that period of time, but she kept having children. You have more children, you have less time. So, and I also seen that in the way she parented us. There was certain siblings that looked more like our father that I feel like she was more she was a little meaner to, you know what I mean? Or she wasn't nice to them opposed to someone else that kind of looked more like her line or looked like her family on her side. So even with you looking like our grandmother, which is our father's mother, I feel like there was, when she saw you, she saw negativity. And when she looked at other siblings, she looked at negativity because there was this deep pain and almost, I feel like, some form of hatred there. And she played that out on us because she didn't necessarily get a chance to let daddy feel that pain. So then she gave it to us. And I feel like it's a little bit more intense when you have a woman who has multiple kids with multiple men, because now she may have been in love with the first guy, but the second guy treated her very poorly. So she treats that child very poorly. And although we would think that adults would have a level of mental maturity where they wouldn't do that to their own kids, I can definitely relate to him saying what he just said, because they don't. It's like, I sacrificed this and I sacrificed that. And I also feel like our mother did that to us because all 6 of us have jobs, have graduated from college, are homeowners, entrepreneurs, but she still would tell other people that her kids wasn't that great. And even though other people would be exclaiming about our accomplishments and the fact that no one's in jail, that her daughters don't have a bunch of kids by a bunch of different men, her sons don't have a bunch of kids by different women, it was still like, yeah, okay, but they not that, they all right. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, oh yeah, my kids are special, my kids are a big deal. It was always criticism instead of praise. And the fact that our mother wouldn't even hug us, she was not an affectionate person at all. So to see her now struggling with dementia and to be her health declining, and this is the time that I'm receiving hugs from her, or she's embracing me on that level, it is a little bit, it's a little sad. And it's also, I can receive him saying, you wanted it, so you're going to still receive it, even though when you're receiving it, there's a level of anger and frustration, like, oh, now you want to hug me? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's why I'm so thankful, because I'm not one of these women in the world that can say I had an absent father. I had both of my parents, and daddy was always the buffer. Anyone who knows me knows that, to me, I was the favorite. I had my father to myself all the time. That's just what it was. But
you hear this, right? So y'all know, she's saying it. It's documented. Although
it's the truth.
Although my father would never ever.
He would never tell them that.
He would never.
There's 5 other kids, but
he would never say that.
As parents, y'all know who
now y'all about to get a some of the sibling rivalry.
As parents, y'all know y'all have favorites. Some of y'all kids, y'all been like, you know what, that one over there, they ain't got it. But anyways, having him in my life and having him be able to step in for different things, it was a buffer, because she was the one that left me with scars, not him. My first menstrual cycle, it was my father who was the one who walked me through it, talked to me about it. She came on the scene after the fact. Right. The first time my heart was broken, Ma was like, I told you not to mess with him. He came in the room and actually just hugged me, even though I know he still had feelings about the situation himself. I was his little girl in that moment, and he saw that I was sad and I was crying and I was emotional. So he embraced me. And there's nothing like a father's hug. I mean, them bear hugs seem like when he squoze you, it was like all of your pain, all of your agony, everything. All your stress. He just took it from you.
Now y'all know I ain't on here just bigging up my dad.
Reminds me of that movie, The Green Mile. You know how he used to touch people when he took all their pain from them? That's what it felt like when your father hugs you. Yeah. And he sees you going through something.
And he definitely was a buffer. And again, as I reflect on why I wanted to do this show, I know there's a lot of people at these big ages that we are, that still feel hurt and are walking around with some deep pains that started way before they got in relationships, before they had kids. And we'll never get an I'm sorry. We'll never get an apology from a parent or accountability for the impact that they had on their life. They just will never get it. And it's like, so what do you do when these things happen and a parent has wronged you? And for a lot of us, for Black folks, especially, I'm speaking for Black people, we are taught not to disrespect our parents, no matter what. You're supposed to, show up. There's people whose parents have been on drugs, haven't even been there for them most of their life, and still feel entitled to love, appreciation, care.
Your finances.
They want you to be respectful of them, even if they didn't care for you, even if they weren't present, because they gave you life. There's so there's a lot of people that are like, how dare you? There's a level of resentment.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that come and sit on your sister's couch are grappling with that. Absentee parents, and it's not always their fathers. Sometimes these wombs are from their moms who didn't tell them they were beautiful, told them, why were you trying to do that? You're never going to amount to anything. Right. Shoot, even to the point of saying, I should have flushed you down the toilet. Right. Which is very harsh.
Right.
So I really hope that this episode gives people the space to know that it's okay to be angry and upset, because I think some people just want to, every time this comes up, they'll go, but I love my parent. I love my mother, right? And they don't want to say anything bad, because if they do, then they don't love their parent or they're being disrespectful. So they don't even really talk about the pain. And if they bring it up, a lot of times parents won't even deal with it.
No, I think that they don't want to. They don't want to have to relive their own,
shame,
childhood wounds and guilt. Yeah. Because I remember when, you and I were both adults when we had our children. You was a homeowner. I had my own place, my own vehicle, job, and everything. And I would never forget asking our mother to watch my son so I could go to work. And her response to me was, nobody ever wanted to watch y'all when I was growing up. And I had to, and in that moment, I had to reflect and I had to push back. Like, and how did that make you feel? Why would you want to repeat that with me? Why would you want to give me the same thing someone gave to you when you know that made your life harder and that it actually was hurtful? But I think that sometimes parents don't know how to get away from those wounds. They don't even really know that those wounds exist, because when you walk through life and you just ignore things, or you just try to push it to the side, or you create all these compartments to compartmentalize all of your emotions, you don't never deal with anything.
No. And so that brings me to a next thing, that some of the things that show up for mother's wombs, just for everybody who's tuned in on all these different places, right, is there's this pressure to be strong versus being emotionally seen. And often there's this piece of not being validated and your emotions being sort of dismissed, right? When you're sharing how you feel, it's not necessarily upheld. So there's this focus on, I think, also being parentified, where you grow up a lot faster than you really should have, because of the lack of the mothering that you should have received. Like, there was a point in time my mom was not working and she was more at home. And it still felt as though we were, at least when I was in the house, I had a lot of responsibilities to pick my siblings up, to still be doing a lot of the things, even though she was home, right? Like, that always struck me odd. One of the biggest ones, going to the grocery store and she's in the house. And we're carrying all those bags down the street and she got a whole car. Like, some of these things was like, I know it made us tougher and it showed us a level of responsibility. But looking back, I'm like, I never have made Rashad go to the grocery store and struggle to bring no bags and I had a car. I don't even think he had to come home on the bus. He was asking me. And I changed my whole schedule around just so that I could make sure I was picking him up from school every day.
We as a family have changed the structure and the dynamics drastically from a lot of things. But the thing is that there are also some similarities, because we grew up in a 3-family home that our grandfather owned. We were surrounded around our family. There was a point where we were walking to school, but that was only up the street.
Right.
But when we did have to go to school that was a little distance away, our grandfather did take us to school. Now
And that's when she was working though.
yeah, so
there
we
was
we
a time
walked
when she had a
walked
job.
home, but so there was a time when I just want to bring that up because there was a time when that was happening. When our family structure changes, when our parents literally got separated and Ma decided to move out of the house and she wanted to go branch off and live in an apartment on her own. When that happened, the structure of our family changed drastically because now you're telling us to go to the store and do these different things that once upon a time her and daddy were doing on their own, and that's because once again she had two more children, two smaller children, and you have kids that are able to walk to school. You're not working. And I don't think when we were over, she still had a vehicle. I think she had a vehicle for some of the time, but not the whole time.
Yeah.
So the structure changed. When the structure changes, then now you're going to be adding responsibilities on your older children to do things that once upon a time they didn't have to do. So I kind of understood that. For me, I didn't have a lot of responsibility at home with the kids. I remember getting in trouble for not cleaning up behind them, but I didn't have to cook their meals, wash their clothes, none of those type of things. Even when I worked, she never asked me for my money.
Right.
I was able to keep all my money. The stuff with Ma was very much so emotional, and she lacked emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I say that because I inherited that. I can be a very emotionally detached person in a lot of situations where people feel like, why aren't you expressing the emotions? And I've gotten criticized by men that I've dated for not being emotional. I'm not going to be the one that's going to break down in tears. I'm not going to be begging for you to do stuff. It's like I just have this natural thing inside of me where if I need something done, I'm going to do it. It's actually challenging for me to rely on somebody else because not 9 times out of 10, if I ask you to do something for me, I probably already got that money on reserve or got a backup plan to do it. And most guys are not going to like the fact that you're already en route to think that they're going to fail and not be able to step up for you. But I'm just built like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do what I need to do to get what I got to get done. And if you don't create a lane where I know I can rely on you and you show me that I can, I'm definitely not going to expect you to do it. I'm going to just do it myself.
Yeah. I think some of that is her, and
it's all her.
I think that,
it's
but you
her.
Also, because we had the buffer of our father,
mm-hmm.
you will ask a little bit more than I will.
Yeah.
I think I also got hyper focused on perfectionism and ambition and
mm-hmm.
excelling, achieving, and education.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how many times I went to school, y'all, but y'all see all those acronyms behind my name. I've been a lot.
Alphabet soup.
Right. So I think a lot of, I just wanted to make her proud and prove that I could be something by getting all of the accolades and all of the education. And that became my hyper focus.
Yeah. I think all of us, the 6 of us, we all have a level of perfectionists that we want to be perfectionists about the things that we do, whether it be work, personal, whatever. Even the way I keep my apartment, I have OCD. Like it has to be a certain way. I don't like dishes in my sink. I don't like my apartment being messy. Like right now, I have a lot of inventory. I've been putting up a lot of things on Poshmark, and it's really been driving me crazy to have all these clothes scattered around my dining room table, but it's part of what I do and I have to get over it. But
and can we talk about that though? Because my mother was at one point in time, she had OCD. I think it
was really bad
all the time. It was
they joke about seasoning the bathtub, but I think we probably are the poster child for seasoning the bathroom. We had to take ammonia, wipe down the baseboards, all the linens had to come off the bed. It was insane. Like cleaning up for us was so bad that it took us 24 hours to clean our entire apartment. Right. We wouldn't be done until almost deep cleaning. Yeah, we wouldn't be done until almost 6-7 o'clock at night, and she would cook. That's one thing I have to give my mom a lot of credit for, was she was not the easy bake oven cook. She made homemade ice cream. We had meals when we came home from school. I'm talking about fried chicken, spaghetti, you name it. She had it. And we always had that. Over time, things change, but as a child,
she definitely had her.
She had the
her
homebody.
pluses.
The homebody
Pluses.
stuff was well enforced.
Right.
The
I would
house,
not be
clothes, all that.
who I am without her influence. I definitely think my drive, ambition, I would even say my integrity, like there's a lot, my moral compass.
Yeah.
To the extent that it was often that our mother thought that she was never wrong, right? That was probably the biggest point with her, is like not taking accountability, not apologizing. She was never wrong. And that was tough.
Yeah, because I think our mother, and I say this with all honesty, I think she thought she was perfect. I think that she really thought that she was perfect. She didn't do anything wrong. It was everybody else's fault. It was everybody else's problem. Because I remember she always made comments about, you're just like your grandfather. And this is our father's side. You're just like your grandfather. You're doing things just like your grandmother. We never had any flaws that she said, you know what, you just stubborn just like me. It was never, ever, ever, ever focused in on her. But when it was time for something that was positive, oh yeah, she's smart and she be doing, yeah, that's just like me, how she's able to articulate this and that. So I do think that she thought that she was perfect, because I, to date, still haven't heard her ever say anything negative, any character flaws that we have that came from her that's negative. I've never heard her take accountability for that.
No.
Mm-mm.
The other thing, and I put some of this up here already, but just thinking about some of the things that I've learned, which I still think is ironic, right? That I became a psychotherapist. I don't know if you find it ironic, but y'all say y'all don't.
No.
But I do.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect to do this. I thought I was going to just be an investment broker all my life. But I always like to talk. That's true. But I don't think I never thought I would go into becoming a therapist or a clinical social worker. I didn't see that. Not at all. Now, I did used to practice being on the radio. So I kind of saw that maybe one day, if I had, enough luck, I might get on the radio. So that's cool. But, studies show that emotionally unavailable parents are linked to increased anxiety and insecure attachment and low self-worth in adulthood, which is what really made me want to talk about mother wombs. Because over the years, we've both grown, and I love you so much, because you're part of what helped me get out of some of my spaces, right? This is before Coach La, before I went back to school to become a therapist, but just transitioning out of a domestic abusive relationship, transitioning from a mom, putting on weight, trying to figure out who I was again. I'm thankful for my sister, right? Because she often was the person to be like, don't make me punch you in the chest. You forgot who you was. I'm going to have to, don't make me beat you up.
Punch you in the neck, the back of the neck.
Whatever, But she was the one that was like, listen, I need you to remember who you are.
Yeah.
And sort of get back to my style, my confidence, because when you go through these things as a woman and you don't have a good relationship with your own mother, where do you go? And we've become so supportive in helping each other through that, because we don't have our mothers.
I have to give a huge shout out to our Auntie Passan. And this is tying right into her. My mother's sister and her don't have the best of relationship at all. But our aunt, huge shout out to Auntie Pastan. Love you, love you, love you, love you.
We do.
She was definitely the person who came in and she would braid our hair. She did my hair all the time, a little corn braids, because my mother was, she was on some big old plaits, old country plaits in your hair. Auntie Passan was the cool one. She had the fabulous wardrobe, all the pumps, the hammer pants. She was just that woman.
She was fly.
And she was the one who you went to and you talked about relationships and different things like that. Her door was always open and literally open, because myself and you had to stay with her for a little bit because our mother just got so overwhelming for us. But
no, let's say what it was. I got kicked out, y'all.
You got kicked out, but I left. I actually really needed
more than once
a break from her. And my aunt she opened up her door and she allowed me to stay there. So huge shout out to her. And, she came in and played a role that was definitely like, she was our aunt, but she was also like a second mother figure when our mother would crash out emotionally. And everybody, anyone who's listening to this who knows our family or knows our mother, they know we're not embellishing on anything here.
No, she was
but
hard.
Yeah,
she was
definitely hard.
She was strict. She was hard. And to a lot of, to her credit, her upbringing and what she saw, and again, we were in the middle of a crack epidemic, right? I think it was her way of trying to keep us safe.
We have to give her credit for that.
I think it was her way of keeping us safe.
Yep.
So she wanted us to be afraid of her. That was really, I felt like if I was afraid of her, there was certain stuff I wasn't going to do.
Yeah, because if you came home and someone knocked on the door and would have said, Shamina's out here selling drugs, I would be more scared of getting my butt kicked by her or hearing what daddy was going to say than the police or anybody in the neighborhood. So yeah, I think her creating that fear factor, and I think what you just said just hit it on the nail. Growing up in an inner city where, especially when we were kids, we had 2 crack houses
on the street,
and an after hours spot. Like, it was on the street. Blue Hill Ave at that time. Anybody from that era, Packy's was lit at night. That whole area down there, when the lights went off, that's where they went, and they were at.
We wasn't allowed to go outside.
All I'm saying is that
at least I wasn't. She was sneaking out. The reality of it is, a lot of her mythology I do understand.
Yeah.
But I often felt she was too strict. She was too hard. And I would have appreciated a little bit more hugs, a little bit more love, a little bit more grace, a little bit more understanding, and for her to actually acknowledge some of the things she had gone through so that I would feel normal.
I think that would have helped a lot if she would have just said, and she did sometimes, but that wasn't her natural temperament. She would at times be like, I dated, messed with an older guy back in the day. And I told you that's how she told me. I dated one of my first boyfriends when I was old and it didn't work out. So I was trying to tell you not to do it. That didn't work like that. Just like how she dealt with the whole intimacy. It was like, you better not go out here and do it. And I'm going to know when you do it. It was
always scared.
So it was never just like, let's sit down, let's have a conversation about it. And you kind of like, add in here a component of you being a human. It was always like she was up here, she was perfect, and everybody else was down here. And it was just like, but you had kids when you were a teenager, before me.
When you had me. So by the time my mom before she was 25, I think she had 3 kids.
Yeah, you might be right.
Because I was 16, and we're all 4 years apart. So she was 20 by the time she had you.
Yeah, and Dayron's 4 years apart.
So she was like 25 with 3 kids.
Yeah.
So
and she hustled our father into marrying her because it was kind of like, I got 3 kids by you, so what you gonna do? And him growing up in an era and still having his, our grandfather as, this active part of his life, like, yeah, you need to go and marry this girl.
Yeah, it was almost like a shotgun got into a certain extent.
Even though from what daddy said, because I believe you got to go see the pastor. I've never been married. You have to see a pastor prior to getting married. And I believe the pastor told them, like, I don't think you guys should get married. I don't think you guys should get married. I think you guys have some things to sort out before you get married. And he said, Ma told him, I don't want to hear that. I have 3 kids. We're getting married. So that kind of set the stage and the tone.
I can totally believe that.
How things played out in the long run with them.
But so I think like the whole anxiety of that was kind of what I was getting at. Like, I was very, very anxious. I think a lot of my fears were passed on by her, like not wanting to get on an airplane, being scared to travel. Like there was just a lot of things that she was completely uncomfortable with us doing because of her own fears.
She didn't want to step out of her. You're right. She didn't want to step out of her comfort zone with a lot of things. And it was definitely trickled down to us, but we all changed that. We just shattered the stage, the glass ball, because we get on planes, we travel, we're entrepreneurs. I remember when Dad wanted to start his business and she was just like, what are we doing? No, this is not a guarantee. We don't know if we're gonna even, earn anything from this. And he kept trying to say, well, we should try. Let's try. She was very against not trying it. And I think because she grew up in an era where, housing and finances were a big deal, she's always tried to tell us about subsidized housing and transitional assistance. And we was all like, I don't want to be on no transitional assistance. Like, I want to go work. So we would go work 2 jobs just to avoid having that. But she grew up in an era where she always is advocating for get your housing, make sure you go out here and you get this and you get that. Opposed to our father, he was more geared towards, get you a union job or go out here and make sure you have employment or go try to start a business. That was his way of earning money. And they were very different
And
when
I
it
think
came
that
down to that.
caused a lot of clash
It
in
did.
their marriage too.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next segment. What does therapy mean to you? Now, the irony of having a sister who's a therapist, right? Even though you say you knew I was going to become one.
Right.
My family often tells me don't do therapy on them, especially my son. So for you, how does therapy play into it? What do you think about it? Like, what's your take on it? And do you think as a family, would we benefit or would we have benefit? Will we benefit if we all went to therapy?
That actually is a great question. I personally have saw a therapist one time. She was a Caucasian woman. It was a terrible experience and I never went back. I tell my family this all the time because it's true. I do understand the benefits of therapy, but I kind of taken on the old school version of therapy, which is to talk to the Lord, because I just don't know how. I'm not really that comfortable sitting in a chair, talking on a couch virtually or whatever, really exposing myself like that and being that vulnerable with a stranger. So I personally don't go to a therapist, but I do feel like there is a benefit to it of having someone that's outside of your circle that you can actually go and allow yourself to be vulnerable with and have that conversation. Because sometimes having conversations with your friends, especially women, I have to say this, women give other women the worst advice. And I think that sometimes you need to go and talk to someone else who has nothing to do with the situation, knows nothing about you or the people that you're talking to, and actually have that conversation with them. Would our family have benefited from therapy? I think so, especially at certain times in our lives when things were happening. I think when our parents originally separated, we should have went to therapy. And I say that because that would have also allowed our parents to have an authentic and organic conversation where they would have found out that they were no longer compatible for each other, and the expiration date for their marriage relationship was there. It needed to let it go. Because I feel like our father died from a broken heart, and I feel like our mother is currently miserable from a broken heart. And I think if they would have went to therapy, they could have sorted out some things, and they might have found someone else to be with, or they would have realized that it's okay to be by your goddamn food yourself. Eat your pineapples, watch Netflix, go work out, do something. But this right here of coming home to each other every day or pretending that you're not with him, but then you're saying you got a date, and then we come here and see our dad running out the bathroom
or
to her
moving,
room.
Or moving.
It was crazy.
Moving the same day that my mother left my father.
He was right in our house.
He was in the apartment. So it was like, what was the point of you moving out of his house?
It was a power thing with our mother. That's why I just said. It was a power
thing in general, right?
She wanted to let him know that she was in control. It was always a control thing. Like, I'm going to show you. And she told us. Our grandfather said, you're not going to find any place to live with 6 kids. And she said, I'm going to show you. So it was no longer just about her finding a place. It was, I'm going to prove Mr. Austin wrong, and I'm going to go do this. And then when she did that, she changed the dynamics, and she also changed the financial situation, because now our father's pulling money out of his house to take care of a second house, and she's living with the man, and she's having to pay child support. It was insane.
Yeah, so we need a whole nother nother show to really break it down. But I think the other thing, once again, thank you everybody that's tuned in. We getting real deep in this. You're tuned into Conversations with Coach La. Tonight we're talking about mother wombs and how that has played into shaping our identities. I have Shamina Austin, who happens to be my
Do we
sister.
have a phone call?
Yeah, but we're not going to grab that. He calls in all the time. What up, Leroy? This is not the time to call. Shout out to everybody on Instagram. Shout out to Rebecca DuPont. She just checked in to check in on Instagram, thanking us for sharing this conversation. But often people don't realize that therapists have a past, have present, and a future.
Mm-hmm.
And often, you know, I would say it's not that I get exempt from life's all the time for me,
Mm-hmm.
but I will say my skill set and my knowledge has helped me respond, have empathy,
Mm-hmm.
Give myself grace, other people grace, and self-compassion that I don't think I would have been able to do before. I don't feel I'm walking around with a heavy heart or angry, right? I understand the dynamics of things, but I still don't think how things played out was okay. For example, our mother never left our dad, right? Legally, they were still married to the day our dad passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And we never saw anything else. And to a certain extent, that was very unhealthy to see two people never ever leave each other. Yes. I think it played into me, one, not really leaving certain relationships and staying in things way too long.
Past the expiration date.
Because I thought that was what love looked like, and that's what you were supposed to do.
Yep.
Again, this was before I became a therapist, y'all.
Yep.
But I will say, going back to school and getting my master's in clinical social work, it was a self-discovery time for me as a woman and as a Black woman. As a mother, it helped me understand a lot of things that I kept saying or asking God when I would go pray. Why me? Why have these things happen? What is this about? It gave me a psychological, biological understanding of human behavior and why some of these things transpire, which is why I say therapy is helpful.
Yeah.
But having the right fit matters, you know, I think more than anything else. And I can't be a therapist to my family, but I think, a great resource. I think me going into therapy and becoming a therapist has allowed me to be an antibiotic in my own family system. I think if I weren't in this field, certain things with our mother's current condition and how we're handling it would have probably played out differently. What do you think?
I would have to totally agree. I think you're the buffer, because a lot of times, you know, with me, I'm like, you know what? That's it. Let's call the best team. Because I don't have the patience for it. I'm being honest. I love my mother to death, but I feel like there's levels to this, you know what? And I love her, but if I don't have the capacity to do something, like I told you guys earlier, I'm a perfectionist. If I don't have the capacity to play this out and do this to the best of my ability, then I think we should hire the professionals and someone else needs to come in and lead the way, because this is not my field or my place. But I do think you going into this field, you do definitely, her favorite thing is to say is, I respectfully have to push back on that. So, you know, in conversations where it could get a little heated or people are like, you know what? Because I'm the first one to say, let's call the best team. That is it. Let's call in for reinforcements. And she's going to say, I respectfully have to push back on that. This is what we need to do. So
I don't sound like that.
So I think it's really good to have somebody that is able to like kind of diffuse the bomb. And I think you haven't went down this career path. You're the one that's able to do that. And all six of us have a set of skills that we're able to contribute to helping our mother actually have a plan. And we've handled the situation very strategically as a family, because our grandmother, which was our father's mother, she got put into a nursing home. Even though my grandfather still had his 3-family house, she was in a nursing home because they just did not have the ability to care for her. So, you know, you going into this field, being able to add your clinical perspective, and then even having the resources for us to be able to directly tap in, have been, you know, super helpful for the situation and for us to handle this in a very healthy manner. And people not be stressed out, because we've done a really good job with delegating and giving each person a responsibility that they're capable of handling. And when we see somebody needs to tap out, we let them tap out and we tap in.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the biggest thing is that we don't shame each other anymore.
No.
We understand that this is an emotional.
Well, we weren't shaming each other. Our mother was putting us up against each other, making it sound like someone wasn't doing something.
Hold on,
Expect the unexpected. Unorthodox radio from Boston and beyond. Heat981fm.com and iHeartStation.
I have to say big shout out to Mark Harris. I hope you're feeling better. I know you tune into the show. I love you, Mark.
Oh, that was so sweet.
Yeah, that's his voice. So I love Mark's voice. But I think you're right. And as we sort of think about where I want to go next, because this last segment we talk about, actually we have two segments to go, but the bet on self moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
You and I both talk about this a lot, but bet on self moments, those times in our life where we said, you know what, despite our upbringing, despite what we've seen, haven't seen, what we didn't get, we're going to bet on ourselves. We're going to believe in ourselves. We're going to empower ourselves, and we're going to transform things. And I think what you described just now was me being a cycle breaker, which is something that they actually talk about in school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Breaking those generational cycles, because what you don't deal with, what you don't heal from, actually gets passed down. So me and you both are moms.
Right.
Our brother also has a son.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've been very intentional about
brothers
have sons, and very intentional about how we parent, and also reparenting ourselves too in a lot of ways.
Right.
So talk to me about your bet on self moments. I know you've had several. I mean, but what's something that past, present, or future in terms of what you think you're doing in terms of betting on yourself right now?
Well, as you stated, I've had a couple, but I think the major flex was when I was when I started my business. It was built off of me having to make it happen. And like I stated earlier, I'm going to make it happen regardless of what I have to do, because I have to get it done. So I was working at a nonprofit. They didn't want to give me the money that I felt I was worth, and I respectfully declined and left the job. They also pushed back and didn't even want to give me unemployment. So here I am now paying market rent in an apartment, raising my son who's autistic, and I had to figure out, what am I going to do? Now, although I had some money saved, it was like, this is only going to last so long, because once again, I'm paying market rent. So this is when I decided, after having conversations with my two sisters, Coach Law, one of them, they were like, you need to just go full throttle with your business. I not only had my Poshmark closet and was selling clothes, but I also started or relaunched my cleaning and decluttering service. And I decided I would be a virtual assistant, because I was going to offer my clients the same skill set that I had been given this company that would not pay me what I was asking for. So I got one client from, she actually reached out to me from, what is that thing called again? LinkedIn. She reached out to me from LinkedIn. And then I had 2 contracts for my cleaning service. And on top of that, I had my Poshmark closet. So I was making good money. The money was so good that I was working for myself for almost 2 years? 2 years, just solely me paying all my bills, money in the bank, everything's working cool. Next thing I know, I had my clients, the contract ended, and I had to make a pivot. I did not want to go and work for anybody. I had been applying for jobs. But in that moment, I had to bet on myself, because I had not only myself, but I had a child to take care of. And it wasn't any time to go and cry. But I'm going to say this, and I know a lot of women can relate. I shed a lot of tears in the shower. I punched the air a lot in the shower. I cried a lot in the shower. And I also prayed a lot. I had 2 jobs. And it was something that I had to do. I was tired, I was exhausted, but I feel like that was the major flex for me with betting on myself in that moment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So you had mentioned too, like, getting dressed, fashion wasn't just about being cute. That was actually a therapeutic space of you reclaiming your identity. And not only that, you showcasing for other women so people can follow you. And they can also hire you as a stylist. And I think she does a little bit more than just pick your clothes. because it's also about finding things that work for your body. You've done workshops on what body shape, style, what do you call that again?
Body types.
What body type you have and what ideally looks good on you. Really just helping people find their style, like what's your slogan?
Don't just rock your style, freaking own it.
Right. And so I've appreciated just how you've helped me sort of, especially as I transitioned. I've been every size y'all can think of, from a size 10 to a size 24. And I think when you go up and down in weight like that, you really do kind of forget what to wear, how to dress.
Well, you also have to take into consideration that we as women, as we put on weight, we may be an hourglass at a size 10, and you may be more like a apple or a pear at a 16 or a 22, because your weight is going to be held differently. So it's really just about, what body type you have and how your weight is carried. And then you have to find things that are going to work and complement that body. And that was something that was really challenging for me, because I'm 5'11", and when I am a size 12, my body is a lot different than it is when I'm a size 22, because although I would say that I have an hourglass shape, when I put on weight and I'm a 22 or 26, there's weight in my back, there's weight in my arms, there's weight in all these other places, which is going to make me appear to look very different. Right. And that's something that we have to keep in mind. I know some women, they just, when it says one size fits all, they're going to put it on, or they're just going to wear whatever. But if you really want to feel comfortable in your skin, you do have to try to wear things that are going to complement your body type. So when you sit down, when you stand up, when you walk, there's a flow to you. It's not everything is tight where you're trying to figure out how to, get into something, and then you're uncomfortable and you're sweating and then everything is just falling apart. If you wear things that complement your body, you're going to move and flow in a space, whether you're a size 0 or you're a size, 28. And that's really what reason why I started my closet and started my page, is because I really wanted to tap into women's confidence. I never make posts and say, look at me, I'm on these chicks' necks. I don't say things like that, because it's not about being on another woman's neck. It's about me being able to help you find the essence of who you are. It's about me being able to help build your confidence back up, because maybe you did have 3 or 4 kids. Maybe you were in an abusive relationship where a guy was telling you you don't look good. Maybe you had a mother or a parent that was telling you that you're always going to be fat. Whatever that is, I want to tap into that. I want to change that narrative. And I think that sometimes people need to see themselves look gorgeous, to see themselves look beautiful in the mirror. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I am that chick. And that helps a lot.
Yes, it does. Because
when you don't feel good, you let a lot of things ride. But when you look in the mirror and you can see that you're the bomb and you're dope, sometimes that right there is the divide in the sand, to be like, yeah, I'm not accepting this no more. Yeah, you know what? I'm off this. Yeah.
And I say all of that to say that part of us talking about mother wombs is that once you identify you have one, you then can start thinking about what do you need to reparent yourself, right? What need wasn't met? What are you missing? And start to really work on that inner work, that inner child work, that inner work, to get yourself in a place that if you do want a relationship, if you do want a partner, that you really are comfortable with who you are, good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. This doesn't mean that you're perfect, but this is understanding those mother wombs. That's understanding your daddy issues. That's understanding how it shows up. That's understanding what needs weren't met that you still are craving for. But first and foremost, how do you give that stuff to yourself?
Yeah.
Right. And it's not just about putting on clothes, but then internally you're still dying and you feel awful about yourself.
Yeah.
Because some people use clothing, jewelry,
to hide,
and it's all a facade. You look good on the outside, but you really don't feel good on the inside. When you look in the mirror, you don't feel good. So as we think about, and I'm not against, everybody can do what they need to do in terms of having a surgery. I'm not opposed to it, but I think some people go get it and they're not gonna feel any better because they got it, because they didn't work on the inside out first.
Yeah, and this is the thing. This time in my life, when anybody who follows me on social media and you see me smiling, it's coming from internal. It's not because of the outfit I have on. It's not because of any of those things. It's because I have finally gotten to a place of financial freedom. I have finally gotten to a place of internal peace. And I've finally gotten to a place where I am aligned with the version of myself that God intended me to be and who I actually am showing up in the world as a sister, as a mother, and as a friend. And that was really important to me because I got slow walked by God. And I'm not trying to be real spiritual, but when you get slow walked by God, that you come out, if you have any form of mental maturity, and you're a little different. And I am so different now. I'm about to be 46 years old than I was in my 30s. In my 20s, I was just totally out of control. But I'm in a different space and place in my life. And it's as much as I love nice things and I love to dress nice, I wanted to, what I looked like on the outside, to really be what my core was as well. And now I can honestly sit here and say to you that this brightness, this smile, this joy, it's because of me. It's not because of any relationship I'm in. It's not because of what I got on it, because of the money I got in the bank. I just am at a place of peace within myself. And I feel so good.
That's so
to
great.
turn 50. I'm about to say 56, 46 years old. 47? How am I about to be?
47.
40. Geez, 47.
Because with 3 years.
Yeah,
I'm
getting all messed up. 45.
But
46.
I tell you, as your older sister, and I think this is also probably you're gonna say ditto back to me, and why this is such a phenomenal show. We've seen each other grow. We've seen each other in our worst moments.
Yes, indeed.
We've seen ourselves when we were depressed, low self-esteem, fat, and it's been such a beautiful experience. Losing weight together, doing 5Ks together.
That's been awesome.
Just getting our money right, supporting our kids, and even working through these parental issues, right? Being able to be supported and validated, because I think that's what some family systems are missing, is that you don't have a sibling or someone else that can validate the experience. If your parent can't validate it, at least your siblings being open. And I have to give a huge shout out to all my siblings, because we are pretty dope in supporting the different experiences and the different versions that we've gotten of our parents. And that's been very healing for me, for you guys to be able to say, we never really saw it that way, because y'all were kids. Y'all were young. But as adults, we've been able to see each other's experiences, validate each other's experiences, and give each other the space to be able to talk about it and not be, that didn't happen. That wasn't what happened. We haven't done that to each other. So I think that's pretty dope.
It's really important, because I know I've heard a lot especially within the Black community, where you'll have relatives or parents that are pretty horrible, and they've done horrible things to people in the family. And you'll hear this, that's still your uncle, that's still your mother, you need to respect them. And it's never any accountability on that adult. That I understand why you feel that way. And then they're able to even bring up examples why they know why you feel that way. It's this very much so like, we're going to dismiss that, where this is an adult, you got to respect this adult. But this adult has done awful things.
That's right.
So I'm really glad that we, as a family, within our family structure, there's a lot of accountability there. And we do not do that to each other. Even if there's an experience that I didn't necessarily experience firsthand, we still give each other the grace to be able to express that and come from a level of sympathy and empathy about what's being stated. So that's really important.
Yeah, I think it is. And again, you guys have been tuned into Conversations with Coach La. I told y'all this was going to be a doozy, this virtual couch. But I also hope
it's not a doozy.
I do hope that, although we're talking about a very heavy topic, that there's a place for you to see that there's also validation and healing on the other side. And sometimes it's not going to come from the person who harmed you in your family system. But if there's one family member, an auntie, a cousin, an uncle, a sibling that actually sees you and validates you, sometimes that's what God sent to help you heal through it. It may not ever come. You may never get an apology from the person who done you wrong. My mother never has apologized for any of the things she's done. She stands 10 toes down that she was right. And that's been a tough pill to swallow, even now at this big old age. But I get it. You know, her actually acknowledging that there's shame and guilt that she don't want to open up. And now that she's struggling with dementia, I'm never going to get that.
Well, see, this is the thing we have to realize too. Closure is not something you're ever going to get from another person.
Not from the person who hurt you.
Closure is always going to come from a place of understanding the role you played in a situation, a role the other person played in it, and coming to a mutual agreement within yourself to understanding, and then allowing yourself to accept that and to move forward and start your healing process.
Yeah, it's called radical acceptance.
Because yeah, but the thing is a lot of times people want to, wait for someone else to say it to them. It's like, no, we now have a clearer or better understanding of our mother for her childhood, why she did what she did, how it made us feel. And now we have the responsibility and the job and the obligation to ourselves to say, okay, fine. I know she didn't get this and this is how I feel, but now I got to move forward because I'm not trying to have the same relationship and connection with my child. I hug my son all the time. I tell him he's awesome. He's handsome. Sometimes like, Ma, what are you doing?
Right.
We have a relationship. When we clean the house together. We got into music, even though I find his music to be awful. I let him play it. I throw in my Keep Sweat. He's like, Ma, what is this? And I hear him playing it when I get home from work.
My nephew is
totally
a 90s baby.
We clean the house together. He's not expected to do any of the things that made me feel some type of way. Now I order all my grocery online. So naturally there's days he has to go, but we have an elevator. He goes downstairs and he brings it upstairs. And sometimes I even help him. But the reality is I'm not having my son go walk to a grocery store, put him in a cab, whatever, and have him go shopping. That's not our dynamics. I'm not making him do things that he doesn't need to do. That's my responsibility.
He still has a childhood.
And I think that's really, really important.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into it. We about to wrap this bad boy up.
Is it about that time?
It's been about that time. We actually taking my extra time. So we headed into Coach's Corner. Y'all see that? I love these. Thank you, DJ Payne, for my visuals right here. Coach's Corner. At the end of the day, when we think about coaching, think about therapy. It's often like boxing. And there was an actor who talked about this, about you have your coaches in your corner and you go in the ring. Right. You know what I'm saying? You do your 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. They ring the bell. You go back in the corner and your coach gives you some tips, duck over here, move over here, watch your feet, blah, blah, blah. They clean you up and they send you back out there.
Right.
So that's sort of like Coach's Corner, because at the end of the day, life is going to life.
That's right.
And no matter who you are, sometimes you're going to get a little beat up out here, right? It's not going to always go your way. We would hope that we have caregivers that give us all of the tools, but the reality of it is that most of them did the best that they knew how to do on what they knew. Right. And sometimes that still wasn't enough. And sometimes they totally missed the mark.
Absolutely.
Now what? So what do we want these lovely listeners to take away from this conversation as we close up? What are some things that, as they just came out the ring and they're in the corner, what do you want them to know? I got some closing thoughts too, but what do you want people to take away as we think about mother's wombs and we think about identity and finding your way in this thing called life? What do you want to leave them with?
First thing I'm going to say is it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. It's okay to let your emotions out. Find something healthy, something safe where you're able to let out those emotions and those feelings that you may not necessarily want to go and talk to anyone about, whether it's take a walk, write in your journal, do poetry, whatever. Find your safe space for yourself and to just really don't allow, no, actually, let me rephrase that. Your parents' relationship and who they are not you. You are your own individual. You are your own person, and you are the author of your own story. And no chapter is over until you put the period on it. It has nothing to do with your parent. You are you. And even though we have wounds from our mothers and our parents or people that have harmed us, you got to also remember that that's a them issue and it's not a you issue.
Well said, sis. Have I told you how dope you are? How much I love you? Like, I think you're so dope.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Sonia said, shout out to both of you queens. I was so waiting for the show, and I'm glad I was able to tune in. The both of you have been so open and transparent with everything, and I respect how you both have grown and overcome all that you've gone through. Peace and blessings to both of you. Continue to bet on self.
Thank you.
Because all you're doing does not go unnoticed. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you, Sonia.
We appreciate you. Also, Sean Jordan said, your sister is very intelligent. Beauty and brains runs in the family, I see.
Thank you.
And then we got LaDonna. Thank you, LaDonna.
LaDonna, hey.
She said great clothing. She said great clothing, and she's a verified buyer.
Yes, LaDonna, please write a review on the page. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And also Instagram, shout out to Mina'Shay all day. I see that there's a bunch of them, but y'all know that it's so small on there. I don't want to miss nobody.
I don't listen. Let me say this. It's not that I'm ignoring anybody. If I ever see you outside, I have bifocals and I don't have them on. I can't see anything. But thank you for all the kind words. Thank you.
So, Coach's Corner, a moment to reflect. Here we go.
All right.
Unpopular opinion. We are still mothering and still need mothering at these big old ages, y'all. So how do we mother ourselves differently? Some of us think that because we've arrived and we're now older that we're all set. Adulting is a stage of development, just like every other stage of development.
Yes, it is.
And no one really gives us a blueprint on how to adult. You think that you've gotten everything through, adolescence and preteens and your young adulthood. And all of a sudden you get to 2021 and people think you know what you're doing. I have a 20-year-old son. He don't know what he's doing. He's still learning.
Yep.
I love and miss our dad so much because one of the things he said to me, he said, when you become an adult, you need your parents more than ever. Because this is where you actually get an opportunity to practice and try the stuff that we've been taught.
Yes.
This is where you start to mess up, make mistakes, get your heart broke. Things don't go as planned. And this is where you start getting that negative self-talk and you get scared. When you're younger, you are brave. Fearless.
We are brave.
You think you can do whatever, but when you get in adult health and you get that first heartbreak, you don't want your heart broken again. When you mess up your credit the first time, you don't want to do it again. All of these things, now you get scared. So you need support systems. And if your parents are not your support systems, get you a good coach, get you a therapist. And sometimes our partners become these surrogates for what you missed in parenting, which is not what your partner is supposed to do.
No.
So often we put a lot of pressure on another adult who also usually has deficits to come in and fix us and to save us. Let's stop doing that, y'all. Let's start doing the work. If you need a therapist, I'm still taking clients. I also have
a punching bag.
And yes, that's a good idea. I love boxing. Y'all know that.
Get a punching bag.
But I have two therapists that are on my team. So if you know me, you don't got to come to me. You go to one of the other therapists that are part of my practice. But I really appreciate this conversation, sis. I'm so glad that you made time to come.
Absolutely. Always. Anything for you, cheese ball.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh, sorry.
You guys just found out what my nickname was. Anyway, your legacy. Remember, your legacy is built in your patterns, not your promises. Your legacy isn't just what you leave for people. It's what you leave in them. So as you are thinking about parenting or having children, this is a big responsibility when you go have kids, y'all. You are their first teachers, their mirrors, and
first love.
And for those of you that have already made some errors in your parenting, it's not too late to go and give your kid a hug and to say sorry and to take accountability. You still have the ability to help your kids, your adult kids, heal.
Yes.
I'm so thankful for the time I had with my dad before he passed away. I don't have daddy issues. My father was awesome. He took responsibility, accountability. He listened. He was empathetic. He was understanding. He was awesome. And if he hadn't been that way, I probably would have daddy issues, but I don't. And I don't have mommy issues because I keep working on myself and I have awesome siblings and awesome support system. So I hope y'all got something out of this conversation. Make sure y'all come back next week. I have a whole nother guest, another virtual couch. And I won't tell you who it is right now, but y'all need to make sure y'all come back next week. It's going to be a great virtual couch. And I'm gonna ask him some really deep questions, different than what everybody has asked him before. So make sure you tune in so you can find out who it is. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good
next
Sunday.
Week.
Oh, enjoy the holiday for those that are off.
Yeah, we're gonna go have some
Bye.
cocktails together now. Bye. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you next week. Bye.